Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Neil, Brian's Logic, Refracted Curvature and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Hello. Wow. With the super level of enthusiasm in my intro, I thought a quicker response would have been given, but there we go.
I was expecting everybody to say something. I was taken aback for a moment.
I couldn't get to my mute button.
This is a great start to the show. Hello, Discord.
Hello.
Yep, enthusiasm level about 1%. Fantastic.
I expected everyone, and everyone probably expected the same thing for everyone else to join in and say hello, but no one did.
Okay, just for anybody who's joining us for the first time live, I do typically at least half an hour pre-show. Subscribe to my second channel if you want to check this out. So it's broadcast maybe 2 or 3 days after the live show actually goes out, or if you're a member, you get it the same day. But there's a warm-up. The idea being that when I press go on the live show, everyone's all ready to go. They're all keen. I'll get into housekeeping. They'll all be enthusiastic. You start the show, do a big enthusiastic. I'm going to give it 100% today. I'm going to be really enthusiastic in the intro. Welcome one and all. Hello.
Hey, Nathan.
Hey.
Hey. Listen, I tried, but... Hey, Adam. I tried, Nathan, but my mic came out of the socket in the phone, so I came into a lull myself.
Oh, dear. What an unfortunate series of coincidences right at the beginning of a live show. Well, we're all keen now, so let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline?
Not possible.
Nope. Given that that's the case, that you need a flat plane to derive a celestial sphere model, is it okay if I answer all the rest of the housekeeping in that context?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. I'll just ask the same question again, start as we mean to go on. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle, look it up if you don't know what it is, from a curved baseline?
That would be a contradiction to the celestial sphere model.
Any evidence?
You can't do that.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
That would be a contradiction to the celestial sphere model.
And
the
globe model's based on that model, right?
Yep.
No, it isn't.
Oh, here we go.
Nobody ever claimed it was geometric.
Yeah, they did. That's all they claim. That is the basis of the claim. Don't ruin this, Arwin.
Boats go over an apparent horizon, not a geometric one.
Not according to the geometric physical claim of an Earth curve edge obstruction in the Begging the Question, Proof of Nothing, Perspective Hijacking Earth Curve Mathematics, where boats are claimed to fall over a geometric physical limitation called our horizon, Arwin. So it's absolutely the premise of their claim. Mr. I'm going to play anti-flat earther and annoy me right at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, but the curvature calculator was not an accurate representation of reality.
Yeah, we'd agree on that
sphere model is.
Yeah, that's what we would say.
The celestial sphere model is an accurate representation of what we do see. and it's a flat plane based model. So that's
Right.
what
So
sphere
boats
model
only
is.
go over a geometric horizon in orthographic view representations, but in the real world, they go over the apparent horizon.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
Other than the over bit.
The celestial sphere is an orthographic view. To assert Earth curve, you need to create a different orthographic view because the celestial sphere is a flat plane. You don't have tangent points on flat planes.
Yeah, and the sphere part is only apparent. It's only a perspective sphere. It's a local perspective sphere. It's not an actual big, huge sphere.
It's not an actual sphere, just an apparent one.
Correct. Is everybody in the chat following along? There's a fair few people. There's almost 70 people here, and we've only just started. So I want to get a grip of everybody in the audience's opinion in this regard. Do you all understand what we've just said in terms of us detailing how the celestial sphere, which is a perspective-based view that you get of the stars, i.e. the dome your vision provides you with, on a flat plane? And if you're going to describe there being Earth curve, then that flat plane in orthographic view for the celestial sphere has no curve to give you a tangent to block your view. Further to that, the model of a sphere has been taken from the celestial sphere in the first instance, obviously invalidating it because it couldn't work if you don't have angles in the first place. Does everybody in the live chat follow along? Brandon Cook says, I have no idea. Yes. Del West Watson gives a thumbs up. Generally Stones just says
guys.
good morning.
Hey, chocolate. Yeah, the celestial sphere model requires the use of the horizontal coordinate system.
Right, you're going to need a Euclidean flat plane. Correct.
Yeah.
So the globe model's based on that. The globe model's based on the original measurements taken from a Euclidean flat plane with the dome of the heavens above, if you want to use the star angles. That's how the globe's been developed.
Yeah, it's where our dual radii comes from.
This is the magic trick. Part of it, there's other aspects that do the similar or the same thing by different means, but this is part of the magic trick. This is how they've taken a flat plane that you actually work and live and build on and navigate and turned it into a sphere based on your view of the sky. That's how they've done it. Hopefully everyone's following around. Wow, 80 people watching. Fantastic.
Well, some guy yesterday said we made it up.
What?
Hold
They
on,
said
be more
we
specific.
say that. That's something we made up.
With something, you've got to be more specific.
That you get a flat, everything started from a flat plane.
No, that model is being presented, hopefully, to Kent Hovind, as John has fulfilled the criteria to challenge him based on a false dichotomy reification on his part of these models. Now, his models derive from the celestial plane, if you want to call it that. My bad. The equatorial plane. I'll get it right eventually. They both come from the same place.
Yeah, for our opposition to state that we made that up, it's not only totally incorrect and wrong, as anyone can just Google and see the diagrams and see the, see the celestial sphere model. But it's a complete projection. It's complete projection. As no, the point is that someone connected to ye before ye made up your globe. Not we make things up. We're showing that where things were made up.
Wow, almost 100 people watching. It's less than 10 minutes into the live show. Fantastic. Thank you very much to all of you who smashed the share button for this show. Very warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us. If you have just joined us, please share the show. That's the only reason there's 100 people watching, or almost 100 people watching. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for sharing. Hopefully you'll enjoy the show. Let's get on with housekeeping. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Go ahead, John.
If there was an axis, it would require to be on a flat plane.
That makes no sense as a statement of response. If there was an axis, it would be an axis on a flat plane. That'd be a roundabout, wouldn't it?
That's what I'm saying. There's no axis of Earth. There's no measurable axis. But
I missed that bit. There is no axis. Right. If there was an axis, was the next bit, though, wasn't it?
Right. If there was an axis to Earth, it would have to be on a flat plane.
But you can't have an axis from a that kind of frazzles my brain a
I know
little
you
bit
gave
because you're
some-
talking about two different things that don't work in tangent or in tandem with another.
I'm following
Well,
him.
that's the point, that their axis is a violation of the flat plane we dwell atop.
That's fine. That I can cope with. I can digest that. An axis at all, when describing a plane, which is an aspect, it doesn't work. It's just nonsense.
Can I give it a try?
Go ahead.
The axis they claim, right, for their axial rotation of their globe Earth requires a joule radii value, right? And those joule radii come from flat plane elevation angles to celestial bodies.
That was beautiful, Brian. Thank you so much. I feel so much better. I feel my muscles relaxing.
I knew
into
that
the
was
chair.
harming you.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Sorry.
Well, I did preface this with saying that I was just going to show the contradictions to their model in their positive claims. That was what I was prefacing all these with.
Oh, we totally get it. I mean, this is advanced level stuff, John. I'm in awe of what you're about to do. If you pull it off, it'll be amazing. And I don't see any reason why you can't pull it off based on the premises of the globe and how it's been devised. Like we said a few minutes ago, I think it was Neil that said that they just deny that there's a flat plane with a celestial sphere. It's like, what are you talking about? That is ipso facto where this stuff is based from. So if you deny it, you're denying it's globe Harry Carry, isn't it?
Yes, it is their model in its basic form. That's what they claim. The observations that prove a globe come from the celestial sphere model. They just never paid attention to the ground, I guess.
Yeah, the celestial sphere model's a flat plane. So their model's based on a flat plane, and it can't not be if you're taking elevation angles and deriving this perspective view celestial sphere above your position. Well, that's a hemisphere because you can only see to the horizon, but they've just transposed the flat plane that they used to derive that onto the arc of your view and called it a globe. That's the trick. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Well,
Nope.
that would require also a joule radii and an axis to the Earth, which have to be derived from a horizontal plane. And even if you had them, all you'd have is a two-way speed-like calculation that also involves a heliocentric sun. And no, there's no evidence for it.
Anybody else picking up on a theme here? All of the globe claims that we ask for in housekeeping questions are now being answered with "you're going to need a flat plane for that." I hope you're all picking up on this theme.
Well, not only that, but the idea that there is a radius to Earth is a contradiction to the model.
Right. If you consider that the celestial dome of the heavens is only going to be relative to the position you're viewing it from.
Well, you can't have a flat plane that curves. That's nonsense.
I keep forgetting that we're juxtaposing this with the sphere. Yeah, when you're talking about the surface that model isn't being a curve, then no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, all we have is an apparent sphere of the heavens, and it's only a local one. So,
yeah, based on your view. When you're measuring it and deriving elevation angles and doing celestial navigation, you've actually got a flat roof. I like that word now, Brian. I'm going to use that because it triggered them. So yeah, we've got a roof that's parallel with the ground.
yep.
That's how it's measured. I'm not saying there is a roof. I mean, obviously we have containment. Any evidence that you can have the gas pressure we all like breathing without containment?
Well, if you want to assert there's an atmosphere, that would be a violation of the celestial sphere model.
If I want to assert sphere-shaped air oxymoron, air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, it takes the shape of its containment. But that would also require a flat plane. What? It would violate the... How did you phrase it? Violate the celestial sphere model.
Celestial sphere model.
How does atmosphere,
Yes,
celestial sphere model violate? I don't follow.
Well, the celestial sphere model is a flat plane model. anything that asserts curvature to the ground is a violation of that model.
But it's not asserting it to the ground, it's asserting it to the air.
Yep, but atmosphere encompasses the Earth, right?
Yes,
Within
it
their
does.
model, or within their-
We got there in the end. Okay, yeah, you're right. That does violate the celestial sphere model with a flat plane, because it would suggest in atmospheric law, sphere-shaped air law, that it's encompassing a sphere-shaped Earth. I'm afraid not. We operate on a plane.
It also violates natural law.
Second law of thermodynamics, a bit more specifically. That's right, entropy law. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the space. Any evidence?
Not
of this?
according to,
Go on,
not
Neil, go.
according to dopey Professor Dave. By the way, I could not handle more than 15 minutes of that show yesterday.
Well, I
and
forgot what Dave-
shut it down in frustration.
Okay, that's lovely. What did Dave have to say on gas pressure? I can't remember. Excellent work, Neil. Thank you so much.
I can get Professor.
I'm sorry, it's a lot of noise, sorry.
Professor Dave's response probably went something like this: gravity.
Yeah, well, basically, look.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
that's what he claims, it's gravity.
Yeah, look, the thing about it is Professor Dave is actually behind the times. You know, that's why people aren't rushing to look for debates off him. When he was around, he was asked for debates loads of times. We all asked him for debates, and he wouldn't debate us. But now he's debating David Weiss. But the thing about it is that he's behind the times. You know, he wouldn't know what we're talking about here. He'd be listening to this, if he is listening to it. He's probably thinking, what are those idiots on about? Because he doesn't understand what we're talking about. Because he hasn't got to the point of understanding that the celestial sphere model requires a horizontal coordinate system.
Okay, well, for
He
the
doesn't
sake of Professor Dave, we'll all do the harp music and we'll flash back to 2015. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Negative,
No.
and he also claims that Newton's equations work. That's how we make predictions, Dave. Are you that dumb?
We're back in 2015, aren't we?
We are at the
Any
moment.
The answer
observations
is-
of gravity first?
Go ahead.
The description of gravity. The description of gravity
Hold on,
would
John.
violate.
Hold on. Go ahead, Adam.
If we're in 2015, and the correct answer to is there any scientific evidence of gravity is scientific evidence of what? As far as I remember.
And it's the same answer now, right? What phenomena? What are you talking about, gravity? Number one, it's not a force in pseudo-Riemannian force space-time bending. It's the conceptual medium, length, breadth, depth, and time, being bent by the uneven distribution of mass. Well, we don't live in a conceptual medium. That's a mathematical description that doesn't affect our reality in any way, shape, or form, because there is no bending space-time. You can't show us time, you can't bend it, you can't dilate it. It's just Einsteinian nonsense that was brought into effect 107 years ago to replace the out-of-date notion that mass attracts mass, which you can violate with gas law. Just show a gas doing anything, ever, and it violates that notion that stuff goes to the ground at 9.8 metres per second. It does not. Mass does not attract mass, and we don't live in pseudo-force space-time that bends, because you can't bend time. It's preposterous.
But I think you killed it immediately, even though everything you laid out after that, Nathan, was excellent. You just detailed the whole of heliocentric gravity, right, in a minute. But you didn't even need to, because when you asked the question a second time and you answered it yourself, you said, is there any scientific evidence of gravity? And your own answer was, what phenomena?
Right. That's what I
what it
mean
is.
when it's Travis back in the day saying scientific evidence of what? It's because what gravity, what phenomena, we're not seeing anything occur, and when they describe it, what they're describing doesn't occur.
Right, and that description is a violation of the celestial sphere model as well.
Oh, hold on, we need the violin music, harp music. We're back in the present day now. Right, what now? So The assertion that you might have scientific evidence of gravity with a violation that doesn't meet the description that they're describing as a phenomena, and we don't therefore have a phenomena, is a violation of the celestial sphere model. Pray tell, I don't follow.
Well, it has a center of mass asserted in Newtonian, and then it has M1, which has a size, a spherical size asserted. Both of those would be a violation of the celestial sphere model.
I still don't follow. Did anybody follow along that?
Yeah, I understand. Because both Newtonian and Einsteinian claims involve a center of mass. Right? Center of mass requires a radius. Right? A radius to a sphere. But that violates the celestial coordinate system.
I've got you.
The horizontal coordinate system.
Because Earth is the centre of M1. Is it M1? I always get this wrong. It's M2, isn't it? Because Earth
M2 and Newtonian.
Right. So because it's got a centre, that means it's got a radius and a curved surface. No, it hasn't. Okay, I got you. That's a violation of the celestial sphere model. You'll need a flat plane for that. And once we've got one, you can't have a centre of the Earth. What are you talking about? Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
If those fields aren't detailing their phenomenon on a flat plane, then their mechanics are wrong. They'll never get into the scientific hypothesis.
Adam's got the dome of the heavens above the equatorial plane. Did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, if that bloke moves 50 miles to the east, west, north, south, what happens to the celestial sphere that he's viewing?
Moves with him.
It rotates above him.
Yeah. It's the celestial sphere, you are the centre of the universe. You, the viewer, the observer. You're not representing yourself at the centre of a giant ball. There is no ball. The only ball is the imaginary ball of the celestial sphere. As we imagine it to be a ball, as we imagine it, respectfully, disregard perspective. Take those angle measurements, and that's what the celestial sphere is. It's just the world viewed by our eyes. Only curving it from our eyeballs.
Can I just take
the pictures on a flat plane, not wherever he moves.
Can I just take a moment to blow smoke up at all of our own asses? Because we are basically fantastic here. We are showing you how they have taken the flat Earth we actually live on, provably, measurably so, and transposed it into the sphere by way of a juxtaposition with the angle measurements from your perspective view to a dome your eye creates, and then the ground you've stood on to measure an angle with that view is transposed up above your head, placing you in the centre of a rock. And the ground you were stood on is now a plane in the middle of a rock, with the ground that you're not standing on, but you should think you're standing on, projected out above your head, formally the arc of your view. Isn't that nuts? We are so on the cutting edge. It's absolutely cool.
Yeah, this just to add on to what Adam said, the celestial sphere model is showing you that you are at the center of your own personal apparent universe everywhere you go. A universe.
This is the actual hijacking of perspective. Then if you reify this, you can get the Earth curve calculator if you want to violate the tenets of this model. And
that was deep, Brian. That was real deep.
And if you want to see the violation of the tenets of that model, that's on the slide that's going through in the Hangout right now. Let's see if I can bring it up for the audience. There you go.
I got that a little late too, Neil. The universe. Yeah.
Universe. Very good. Shout out to Godzilla37. He says, quote, "There's lights in the sky, therefore globe," end quote. Professor, in quotes, Dave's best argument. Can globers not do better than this guy? Well, no. Dave's as good as any in terms of the anti-flat Earth or flat Earth arguments. I mean, I don't see Dave as any less or more qualified than anybody else to put those arguments across, if I'm perfectly honest. They're all flawed. We know how. Thank you for the super chat.
I mean, as an anti-flat earther, I think he did very well. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he did all right, Dave. Professor Dave we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all right. As anti-flat earthers go, I thought, yeah, that was tolerable. I'd have coped with that. Now, I know from others' perspective, they go, oh, prick, he was interrupting a lot. Yeah, that's part of the course. But I thought, yeah, I'd have coped with that quite nicely. That wasn't too bad. Other than his distorted mic, that would have driven me nuts. In fact, I wouldn't. I know already I'm lying. Oh, I couldn't cope when I tried to edit a video. If I'm really honest, the real reason I stopped editing the video, because I did start, I said, I just didn't have time. Well, I was going to make time, but when I heard Professor Dave distorting, clipping, and looking at the levels absolutely rammed to the top, I couldn't cope with the editing process. I'm like, this is too nasty. I can't subject my audience to this. It's horrible.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, just before Adam's going to say what he's going to say there, is that as a challenge, as an anti-flat earther challenge, and as a representation of anti-flat earth, and a representation of a good debater, or someone who can put up a good debate from their side, there's different versions of that debate, different ways that people debate using, but what he did now was pretty much kind of like the scattergun attack model, and he did a good job of it, actually, because I didn't hear him in debates much before. I was kind of impressed.
Hey, check it out. Tim Osmond's in the chat rubbing in David Weiss's performance. So saying thanks for recommending the show. I'll go and watch Dave have his ass handed to him. Okay, if you want to see it that way, Tim Osmond.
Yeah, I told you he was in the chat yesterday talking nonsense. I told him to come on in.
Yeah, he can tell us all about how his belief structure violates the model it's based on.
It just shows you what goes into their ears and runs around their heads, doesn't it? At what point has anyone said, Dave Weiss got bent over and I got his bottom spanked? No, that's not what was said, but isn't it interesting what Globe is actually here?
Well, what's interesting is I'm not talking about me personally, but just because I said it, I, as a flat earther, can actually give Professor Dave props on putting up a good anti-flat earther argument. But what I didn't say was that argument is based on over-talking, insulting, appeals to consensus, unproven claims, scattergunning, and in the end, nothing is proven by that side, regardless of whether if it's someone who's claiming to be a professor or nothing is actually ever proven.
Yeah, that's why Tim Osmond's saying he's done a good job. That is, as far as Tim Osmond's concerned, a job well done.
Yeah, he succeeded in not proving it and just stopping the flat earther from talking. That's
exactly
the basics of it.
Job well done as far as Tim Osmond's concerned. Good standards they've got over on their side now. What, you managed to fundy mute the entire time? Wow, great job. Yeah, that showed him.
Yep.
Did we cover molten iron core? Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? John, over to you.
That would be a contradiction of the celestial sphere model and its tenets.
And the globe's based on that, right?
Yeah, the globe is actually a contradiction of the celestial sphere model.
But moreover, based on a flat Earth model. The globe's based on a flat Earth. It's nice to say that. Very nice, very nice.
Well, the globe is kind of based on the molten iron core, because without that, there won't be the rotation. Without the rotation, there won't be a globe, really. A globe model, a heliocentric model. Because what's causing the sun to come up and go down?
Is everybody aware of the
model.
backstory to the molten iron core? I'm sure you all are.
You got to give us the fairy dust music if you're going to tell it.
Once upon a time, there was a fledgling planet called Earth, on a happy-go-lucky orbital path around the sun. Little did the fledgling Earth know that there was another planet on a devastating collision course called Thea. Thea smashed into the globe Earth at a glancing blow, depositing its juicy, delicious molten iron core, coincidentally, on Earth's core. The debris formed our moon, and everyone lived happily ever after. Yeah, that's it.
So I think I can answer any claims that Kent Hovind may make with a one-sentence response.
No, you feel free.
I mean, if he chooses to make any claims, he might try to attack mine and his model.
Well, he's going to have a job because his model's based on that. I hope you pull this off. I really, really do.
It's kind of trolly, but I don't want to. I don't want to make an enemy of Kent Hovind either. You know,
It's not trolly. How is it trolly to point out that the origins of their model are a flat plane? How is that trolling when it's just the winning argument and the fact of the matter? That's not trolling.
I guess it's just the way I'm framing it when we're talking about it right now. I won't be like this if I do talk to Kent Hovind.
I don't view it as I don't see this. I know we've all gone, hey, stick it to him and all that, but I don't see this as you trolling Kent Hovind. I think you've seen an angle to appeal to him, and the angle is your model's based on a flat Earth, mate. What's that? You want to compare your model to my model? Well, I'll just take the origins of your model, which are flat, and use that. And then when you detail your model, I'll point out how your models come from my model, which is flat. And if you try and deny my model, I'll point out that your model's based on my model, which is flat. So you're technically denying your own model by denying my model. That's going to work out beautifully because it's the facts of the matter. Did we cover all the housekeeping questions?
1 second. There is something I need to add in here. Technically, Kent Hovind's model, as we've spoke about some weeks ago, that is the flat Earth model. That's a model that's based off a flat Earth. There isn't a flat Earth model of the flat Earth, but that is the model that's based off the flat Earth. So he is promoting his model, the model we're supposed to present him for debate. He's presenting that very model. That is our model.
He just doesn't know it yet. And I hope John's the one to point that out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. Like when it comes time to present our models, I'll just say, oh, you already did for me. Thanks. I'm using that one.
That's what I was going to say. He just doesn't know it yet. And you know what? He would be a great asset. He's a very smart guy, destroys evolution. So hopefully he'll catch on.
And he makes some very nice Kool-Aid. And you're free to leave at any time. Nobody will stop you. Just to make that absolutely clear.
I get it.
Seriously though, did we cover all the housekeeping questions?
Did we cover R?
No? Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius.
The idea that Earth has a radius would be a violation of the model, the celestial sphere model.
The globe Earth's based on that, right? That flat plane?
Yeah,
you can approximate a radius value, can't you, from star distances to the horizon. But the only way you can approximate it is to have accepted that the angles you've taken to create your curvature have been taken off of a flat surface. That's what they do. They do use celestial navigation to build the ball, where the curvature we see or attribute angular change in the sky is attributed to curvature of the surface. But you have to have, as John will say, that first premise that the angles you've taken have been taken off a flat planar surface before you can manipulate the numbers in maths to represent your plotting onto a ball.
Right, like Red Rhetoric did when he's debating with Jeranism back and forth in a videography debate about the distance measurement to the moon. And Red Rhetoric takes measurements from a flat plane and then inserts his R value to compensate for the fact the ground's curving. You just measured it flat, mate.
Yeah, he would have never gotten that angle if it was curved.
Right. His insertion of R used to be described by us, because we didn't spot this back then, as being capable of being done on a flat Earth also in that instance. Well, no, not quite. Their globe Earth model required it to be flat first. Same goes for sticks and shadows. Same goes for almost anything in a globe Earth claim that's involving an angle measurement of any kind. As soon as they say the word angle, you're going to need a flat plane for that. "150 people watching. Woo-hoo-hoo. Please share the show. Very warm welcome if you've just joined us. Smash that share button. That's the only reason there's 150 people watching, because people in the audience are kind enough to smash the share button. So please smash it if you haven't done so already.
There's another reason I did this too is, Dave Weiss likes using models to teach people. I was hoping by hearing this, he would incorporate the celestial sphere flat plane model into his arguments. With any luck, he will.
We'll see. I'm sure that'll be the case. Thank you for the show. Have to go to the dentist to get a filling done. Hope the Earth doesn't start spinning while he's doing it. I think I'll be fine. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Godzilla. Right, as there's a slight lull, I'm going to plug my playlist. We did this discussion in the pre-show when I said we were all getting warmed up. I was enthusiastically talking about something that I accidentally discovered that I'd created, which is the Shorts playlist from this channel. Nathan Oakley 1980 has a Shorts playlist. And in it, there's about 85 videos, probably actually about 75, because there's a couple of duplicates and a couple of long-form videos that have managed to make their way in there. But aside from that, there's at least an hour and a half of 30-second to 1-minute videos that are the most concise possible version of a debating point. Because I've taken a 2-hour show, condensed it to a 30-minute segment, and then condensed that down to a 12-minute video, and then condensed that down to a Shorts video. And all of those have been compiled in that playlist. And like I say, by chance, I just ended up playing it. And having not had my own material presented back to me in that way, including the adverts, which were quite amusing when they jump cut in, I really enjoyed the experience. Now, I'm not just blowing smoke at my own ass. That is kind of my job. But by the same token, I do want to encourage you all to do it with sincerity, because I literally played the entire playlist in the background before the show while I was doing other stuff. And constantly, you can probably hear my voice now, I was smiling the whole time as I found it all very amusing, having not had my own stuff presented back to me. And typically you lose interest in your own material after you've made it and you've presented it and all the rest of it. It wears thin. This was far from that, so I really enjoyed it. I'll probably end up watching that playlist again, as sad as that sounds. But please check out my Shorts playlist. I have promoted it at the end of lots of the short form videos. It comes up as a thumbnail at the end on the screen. But like I say, I just never watched it as a playlist, and now I have. I'm very keen to promote it. So please check out my Shorts playlist.
Well, they're the condensed forms of like the point that's being argued in each case, right? Like the point of contention.
Yeah, the point of contention summed up in the first 3 seconds. The obfuscation comes in the next 6 seconds. The rebuttal comes in the next 10 seconds. Then the obfuscation's repeated and the video ends. Also, there's some concessions in there. So it's not just the fundy tactics of obfuscation that you get to see in those videos. There's plenty of concessions, far more than I thought that we'd got. Plenty of people saying, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, you can only measure an angle off a flat Earth. Yeah, I concede that. Yeah, you can't have gas pressure without a container. And a lot of concessions where they're defying the fundy rhetoric of the anti-flat earthers who are prevalent, like Blue Marble. Brilliant. Check out my Shorts playlist. It's ace. I promise you'll love it. And you'll want to share it. Shout out to Ben White for joining for a member for 9 months. Thank you very much indeed. 3 Bitcoin for anyone out there who can prove that we live on a spinning water ball in a vacuum. Any takers? Please share the show. Really appreciate the support. Wow, almost 170 people watching. That's a lot of people watching. Really appreciate all of you who have shared the show already. Good show as well. I'm glad there's a lot of people watching today. From the terrible live start to this, great enthusiasm level. A testament to my panel, I'm sure you'll all agree. I haven't heard much from you guys in Discord. That said, I haven't actually gone through and unmuted anybody, so...
I had to nip off for a phone call there, but I'm still sharing. It wasn't for me, it was for 10th. Did you cover it 10th, or...? I think it was probably the same point. There was a couple of slides.
No, I didn't. I was waiting for you to do it.
You want to do that now? We'll just see if there is any interruption. I've just taken a whole load of people off mute in Discord, so... Did anybody want to add anything from Discord? I'm really sorry, I haven't paid attention to you. No, Nathan, we're all good. Nobody noticed. Oh, that's good to know. Go ahead, 10th.
Well, I'll let Adam, because he's got control of the slides now, and I just agree with what he said earlier. So I just went and got some of my slides for him to make the point more solid.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a great deal to add because I think that the point was made. I liked Brian's little wordplay. It's the universe, and that really is the crux to this. It's the crux to, not the southern crux. It's the crux to celestial navigation, to what a celestial sphere is to understand it's an image that renders solely for you. Its premise is it's being yielded from a flat plane. It's how it all works, not just the first angle, but the distances. Okay, and that's the point of celestial navigation. And they've put on here, look, they've got celestial poles, which they're given places within. And you look at that and you go, oh, look, North Pole, South Pole. Same on this one. They're the relative positions in your celestial sphere of vision. They don't exist. You can't see through your feet. Yeah, it's not. It's all imaginary in terms of the sphere. Because as I alluded to earlier, this is us hijacking perspective. But it's through, and I've said it before, because it is the majesty of the heavens that allows this impossible trigonometry. Without a side length, you can't do the math. Yet the heavens yields the side length from us, and in navigators' minutes, and that, I'll say it again, is the blessing from the heavens. It's not just basic trig; it's a gift, and the way it works and the way it lines up and uses the premises of trigonometry. I say the fundamental that the heavens yield a side length on the flat plane. It yields that distance on the flat plane, as well as the angle is the majesty of it. And like I said, it's fundamentally backed up. All of that free gift is premised within trig, triangles, right angled triangles specifically, parallel
Beautiful,
plane.
isn't it, Adam? Isn't it beautiful?
Mm.
Adam's at heart. Adam's a mathematician, which is why he's you know talking about this like it's a lover.
It is so beautiful though, the way it works and it's the impossibility of maths is yielded from the heavens. John QE makes that joke. Yeah, here's an angle of 15 degrees. What's the side length? You can't do it, but you can with celestial navigation. Two married.
Did someone want to add something?
Angle to yield the
Sorry,
distance
Adam.
on the surface.
Did someone want to add something from Discord?
Yeah. So, if I can be a fill-in for Arwen, I'd like to offer some mumbo jumbo.
Okay, go ahead.
Basically, when we're talking about celestial navigation, at the basic utilitarian sort of, you might even say moral level, we're talking about figuring out where you are. And I'd like to point out how interesting it is that people who subscribe to the heliocentric model are the people who are the most likely to find themselves in a building or an institution or a place of business that is so congruent or identical to another place of business elsewhere on the plane. In other words, if you walk into 7-Eleven in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's going to look exactly the same in Dayton, Ohio, and Portland, Oregon, or whatever, such that these people actually don't know where they are at all. And so the heliocentric model, far from providing accurate navigation in terms of location, actually provides the exact opposite. It provides what I may poetically describe as an entropic effect, where all places become exactly the same and all microstates are occupied by the same, Disney Plus, 7-Eleven type of existence. Are you guys tracking me?
I'm tracking with
this
you to a
whole
certain
critique?
extent. Yeah, it's very deep. But yeah, I am tracking along with what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's just my 2 cents, my whiskey shamanizing.
Except it has nothing to do with celestial navigation because you need a 90.
Well,
That
yeah,
link
but if
wasn't
you
quite
care about math and precision, you might also care about information at other degrees of granularity. So you might care about like nutrition at its most granular. You might care about interpersonal interactions at the most granular, right? And the people that we're debating with typically have a total haze at the most foundational levels of their epistemology, which is so funny to me because, these people claim that flat Earth observations are all just based on haze, whereas the opposite seems to be the case. I don't know.
No, you're right. It's just when Tent said it's nothing to do with celestial navigation, you just used it as a segue where you're describing the worldview of somebody who's on the globe as being kind of lost and not really knowing where they are. Well, yeah, detaching you from your actual reality is a very useful control technique that you're summarising. I totally agree.
You prefaced your statement saying it was going to be Arwinian, and Arwin actually has a specific phrase for that. I think they're called trans-back zombies. He does talk about it specifically, to be fair. You're happy to go around zombified.
Adam, you have like a weird horror movie synth sound going on in the background of your
Neighbour's got his
microphone.
strimmer out. He's just cutting the lawn.
It's a strimmer. No, it's a chainsaw. Run!
Yeah, they're after. It's a transvax zombie. It's coming.
So there we go. Yeah, it's nice to summarise the zombie nature of the average globe earther. But they're in blissful ignorance of it. It's like the scene in The Matrix where you've got Morpheus showing Neo around the Matrix. He doesn't know he's not really in the Matrix, it's a simulation. And he's just telling him that the people who are locked up in the Matrix will not only fight to stay there, that any one of them could end up being an agent. That's why when back in the day everyone got labelled chilled, it's like, no, it's just any person that's trapped in this paradigm of a globe can easily become a defender of it. A drop of a hat. It doesn't mean they're being inhabited by an agent. It just means that they're more than willing to defend their paradigm against anybody that seems to challenge it. Half the time, they don't know why.
Well, they're not free thinkers. They're controlled, indoctrinated thinkers.
No, it's very much like the Agent Smith popping out. Like the programming all of a sudden takes over. And all of a sudden they have responses for things they didn't even think about. But the responses have already been pre-programmed. So that's when the Agent Smith comes out.
That's what happens when you teach people what to think instead of how to think.
Exactly.
Could I just say
wait, I have
something on
another
the celestial?
question.
Oh, go ahead if you've got another question. Sorry, Brian.
10th, this isn't really a what do you call it, a probing question as far as your methodology, which as far as I understand is very sound, but it's more philosophical. Like, don't you think it's amazing that human beings actually have an innate sense of the real such that they trust each other to know that if somebody writes down what the GP of the sun or a star is and say it's in the almanac, like we can trust that? Like, given the state of duplicity of the world, like we know that if someone wrote that said star is going to be above my position at such and such time at such portion of the year, like we can trust that. I think that's pretty amazing.
Well, it's not my methodology. I've got their books, and it's something that they've limited down to in the Air Almanac to 64 navigational stars, and in the Nautical Almanac close to 200. So most people use the Air Almanac because it's a smaller volume, and it works.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, like, people can accurately report what star is above their head, so why would they start inducing lies and other matters? I don't know, it's just kind of an interesting puzzle to me.
I don't understand your question. You mean, why is some of what they share true and the rest not true in the books?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Well, no,
all
not in the books.
practicality.
In general.
It's the practicality of it, isn't it?
That's how it all.
Like these guys,
That's
they're
how-
taking these measurements. I'm sorry, Tef, I know I'm cutting in, but I just feel like that's when you have to do something in reality, right? And it has to work, you make it work, right? So when these guys are measuring these angles to stars and finding out where they are, well, they don't want to be lost at sea, right? They want to actually be able to find out where the hell they are. So yeah, that's when they use things. It's the same way, even in NASA's own documents, they'll say they take the Earth as flat and stationary when building a vehicle, like an airplane. When you actually have to put people in an airplane and it actually has to work over this flat stationary world, you don't pretend it's something else and then build it according to that. You build it according to how the world works.
When it's the truth, you don't have a contradiction of the law of contradiction. You don't violate it. You don't violate that. So when the serpent in the biblical story in Genesis came to Eve, he uttered some half-truths. He also lied. So what do you think the Copernicus people are going to do? They're going to use elevation angles. They could only work on a flat plane, and then they're going to make you think you live on a globe. So it's a half-truth and a lie.
Perfect. Almost 200 people watching. I can't quite believe the numbers. Fantastic. A very massive thank you again to everyone who shared the show. Please share the show. It's been a really good live show today, like top form. Even though there's been no fundies debating us, in terms of informational standards, this has been way up there. So please smash the share button. And a massive warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us. We are going to round out shortly. There is an after show to follow. Please subscribe to my second channel, again, if you haven't done so, and then you can check out the pre-show and after show that continues after the live show ends. The recording continues for a while, sometimes for hours and hours and hours, depending if there's good discussion or debate that goes on, and you can see that for free on my second channel. So subscribe today to Nathan Oakley. As we're near the live show, and there's nearly 200 people watching, I'm also going to plug my shorts playlist, which I discussed a couple of minutes ago. So please check out my shorts playlist. It's epic. Lots of condensed 30-second to 60-second debating points with the rebuttals all wrapped up nicely, sometimes even with a concession. Yes, indeed, a concession from anti-flat earthers in that playlist. But it's if you like the kind of jarring cuts between videos because they're so short and concise, with a few ads thrown in, which are also beneficial to me, so please watch my ads. Then check it out. But it's epic. So please watch my shorts playlist. And thank you for tuning in. Anyone else got any points before we do round out? We've got about 5 minutes left.
I have. On this, I've got it on screen. It's the thing that 10th dug out a while back, and Eli brought it up again this week. But I think just the points that were being made there, particularly by Chocolate, is very pertinent. This is by Darcy Reddyhoff, the Royal Air Force College at RAF Cranfield. So if I just read, I think it's quite good. He's addressing a previous article that's been talking about why people don't believe in evolution and why they think the Earth could be flat. So I'll go anyway. Andrew Hill, Darwin Rules, okay, posted the 12th of July. Says, even in The Spectator, we rarely find serious assertions that the sun goes around the Earth. One can, of course, believe anything one likes as long as the consequences of that belief are trivial. But when survival depends on belief, then it matters that belief corresponds to manifest reality. We therefore teach navigators that stars are fixed to the celestial sphere, which is centered on a fixed Earth, and around it which rotates in accordance with laws clearly deducible from common sense observation. The sun and moon move across the inner surface of this sphere and hence perforce go around the Earth. This means that the students of navigation must unlearn a lot of the confused dogma they learned in school. Most of them find this remarkably easy because dogma is as may be, but the real world is as we perceive it to be. If Andrew Hill will look into the Journal of Navigation, he will find that the Earth-centered universe is alive and well, whatever his readings of The Spectator may suggest. Darcy Redoff, RAF. Bromfield.
I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, 200 people, wow, then a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, smashed the PayPal link and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
It said and what everybody else said about program response. I mean, we see it from our family members and friends. It's like, wait a minute, did you take time to even digest what I said? You just responded so quickly.
No,
More
they
of a
don't.
programmed reaction.
No, they don't listen. They don't digest. We had an example of it from an Aussie guy the other day. Do you remember? He came on, asked a question. I, as I typically do, would answer it within a few breaths. And then before he's even listened to the full answer, he started on his next question. And in one instance, he was like, do you feel that you could take this out to the masses who are looking into the nature of Earth? I answered yes. He said, well, why not?
Yeah, he instantly thought that there's no way you could do that because you can't have proof for a flat Earth. You just can't. In his mind, that can't happen.
I can't believe
yes.
I can't believe there's 200 people watching. That's fantastic.
Good show. It was a good show, man. I just said.
Well, when that happens and it is a really cracking show, which I'm surprised about given the start, that's just fantastic. You're like 200 people watching and we're having a really good discussion. We're really concisely breaking down a lot of globe Earth and flat Earth proofs. Fantastic.
I'm just going to say...
Very educational.
Can Brian talk?
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'm trying to say something since about 10 minutes before the end of the live show. Very simple point.
Sorry, Brian.
No, not your fault.
Sorry, Brian. You go ahead, Brian.
It's just the way it's going.
Sorry, Brian.
Can we all apologise to Brian?
Sorry, Brian.
Let's just get it out of the way. Brian, I'm sorry. I ended with that. If I'd have known, I just wouldn't have done it, mate. I wouldn't.
Right, but before you do, can I just do a shout out to my shorts videos? No, I'm only joking. Go ahead, Brian.
No, it's not a big deal. It was just something that off of the back of what Adam put up as far as the celestial sphere.
Wait, sorry, I'm late to the party. Can I apologize?
That was mildly amusing, but no more apologies, please. Right, Brian, start again. I'm going to put all the lines on mute.
No, okay, I'll say it. I don't know if it's going to matter now, but on the celestial sphere point, right? Yes, it is your own personal apparent celestial sphere, your own personal universe, right? But if you see a star out on the horizon, and you look at your horizon is across water, and you see a star close to the horizon, that means, using that model, that star is close to 5,000 or maybe slightly over 5,000 nautical miles away from your position in a straight horizontal line. That is so paramount to why that argument is so destructive for our opponents.
It also shows you that, you see, when you get that grasp, yeah, that the actual layout of the stars as a planar surface above the flat surface has nothing to do with the celestial sphere. It's an imaginary concept, the celestial sphere, just like the bulb.
And then that's the point where they have like a cool app that takes over from your perspective and actually makes you think that these stars and the sun and the moon are all going underneath your feet. Gotta love those things, can't you?
That's the point with the poles, you see. As the star goes to the horizon, is it getting nearer and nearer your feet? No. Staying the same.
That's what they're making you think. They're making you think it's circling back on itself and coming now underneath your feet. It's great, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And they proved this with EQ mount telescopes. Not.
But that's a good example.
I was going to say that's a great example. Go ahead, Adam. You said it first.
But that's it. That's what's in there in the baller's mind. You see, that's because that EQ mount is mixing the two imaginary systems. Yeah, one's tracking it and one's actually mirroring it on a pivot. Well, they're two very different things. But that is actually the translation mathematically that's happening. So when they then see the physical mount pivoting, that's what it is. Look, there's the ball moving. Forgetting that all you've done is watch something go to the horizon. Stay the same height above you. That drone, Mitchell's drone, stays the same height as it goes out to sea. Yet it gets nearer and nearer to the surface of the sea, doesn't it? It must be curved.
Well, the EQ mount is heavenly coordinates, and horizontal coordinates is the alt-as system, and that's the one that the sextant operates on. And that was a perfect combination, the way you shared how they confused the two.
Yeah, well, I mean, what people have to realize is that when the EQ mount telescope is viewing or recording a star just close to the horizon, that EQ mount telescope is making a straight line parallel to the surface, to a horizontal baseline surface, let's just say, to the horizontal baseline of the Earth. That star, if it's close to the horizon, across water, let's just say, is going to be around 5,000 more, maybe more, it depends on how close it is, nautical miles away. So the EQ mount telescope has to use a flat Earth until the star goes below what they think is below the horizon, and then the EQ mount telescope is using a globe. But for that 5,000 plus miles, nautical miles, that it's viewing that star, it has to use a flat plane, the horizontal model.
Well, this is why it's important to understand the killer blow from their own books, that the maximum altitude is 90 degrees, because 90 times 60 is 5,400 nautical miles. That's the maximum until it disappears from your sight as it goes away. So they've got this down. So this 90 degrees is a right angle triangle. It's a perpendicular. Of course, it has to be horizontal flat all the way to the point where you lose it in your eyesight.
Yeah, and orthographically, it can be represented as an arc, or it can be represented as a sloping line, or it can be represented as two parallel planes. Orthographically, you can represent it three different ways, but the plane that you're standing on, that part will always be a plane. If you represent it either as a slope, as an arc, or as two parallel planes, the ground you're on will always be a plane for that to work.
It has to be a plane because we don't have diverging zeniths. You have parallel zeniths, and you have the radii from the GP of each circle of equal altitude to the observer where the fix is, all is straight.
Yeah, because they can represent the sky in a diagram in all kinds of ways. They can represent it, as I said, as an arc, as a slope, or as two horizontal planes, and you take angles from the person to the star, let's just say, right? From one plane to another. They can represent it in 3 different ways, but they have to have a horizontal baseline for that person to be standing on. They can't do this without that. So the only thing they can manipulate is the sky, because we view that from a perspective view. But they can't manipulate the surface we're on if they want to take the angles, which they need to create their radii eventually, using Polaris.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't get a bigger reaction, actually, Brian. But there we go. Such is life.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you say something poignant. It's your own fault.
But sometimes the audience doesn't know that it's poignant and that we're reflecting on it. They just did the dead air.
Yeah. It wasn't to be argued with. It was to be mused upon. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, sometimes people are working, I can't get to the mute button to say outstanding point, Brian.
Thank you, Neil. Yeah, it's true though, when everything goes silent afterwards, the audience, if someone doesn't understand what's being said, like I know that you're not thinking, you're not face palming and going, oh no, Brian, what are you saying? I know none of you are doing that. But the audience don't know if you're doing that or if you're thinking about it. So they could go either way. It's like, did he just say a load of rubbish? It's like, no, I can guarantee I didn't. I guarantee you what I said is 100% fact. And you can go and try and debunk it if you want. But you won't.
In other words, it's the silent mic drop.
Kind of, yeah. A mic drop in an empty auditorium.
Well, if they're seeking consensus opinion on this, right, and incapable of thinking for themselves, that would be a danger, I guess. But if you're in flat Earth right now and consensus opinion is important to you, you're in the wrong place.
You're definitely in the wrong place. Find something consensus worthy to go do.
I remember going on Steve McRae's show and that being their opener. I think it was Chris Monk asked, would you consider a satisfactory proof to be consensus? And they were like, yes. And I almost choked. I was like, what? So reality is based on consensus? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, how can we possibly win?
Wow.
If reality is merely based on consensus opinion, then what chance have I got of winning? The answer is 0. You're in the majority. Therefore, what you say is the world we live in? How preposterous is that? But that's the mentality they've got.
Wait, may I interject on that point?
Yeah?
We don't have a consensus opinion, at least within this domain, of what gravity is, even from people who believe that gravity is real.
Correct.
So consensus reality cannot exist.
Well, not for gravity in that example, no, because they can't agree. And they don't have a phenomena. But yeah, I see your point.
There is.
Like,
some of them say...
Hold on a second, everybody. There is no fact upon which a consensus exists.
There is one.
What's that?
The celestial sphere model.
You think the celestial sphere model has a perfect, 9 billion person consensus?
No, but what he's saying is that if the majority of the Western world believe they're on a sphere, that is ipso facto based on the celestial sphere. Therefore, flat plane model is what their consensus opinion is ipso facto based on. He's right.
Well, fair enough. I appreciate drilling down on what opinions are fundamentally based on. But what I'm saying is, like, offer a claim and see if there's a consensus about it. And I'll tell you that there is no such consensus. In fact, I don't know if you guys know Jay Dyer, but he was talking earlier tonight about, what it means to present like an alleged global crisis to provoke a hopeful global response. And of course, when I was watching the video, I thought, oh, that's funny. Global crisis. Tee hee, tee hee. But if you think about it, there is no crisis which has ever produced a ubiquitous response. In other words, people look at things and they don't all see the same thing. Isn't that a fascinating problem?
Not a problem, thank God.
I was going to say, how is that a problem?
Well, it's a problem for quote unquote science. It's a problem
Don't
for
say science.
pseudoscience.
It's a problem for the elites that control us. It's not science, but yeah, I know what your sentiment. I know where you're going. Yes, I don't want to be pedantic.
It's a problem for those that want to define the rhetoric. That's the only issue. The free thought and viewing things in different ways is what they try. What we've just been saying. What they're trying to stop, isn't it? Stop thinking and just start regurgitating. So it's kind of what's happening now, having to deny reality. I won't go too political, but to have to deny the obvious facts in front of you is what's being asked of people right now to fit into the norms of society. That's the trick.
Well, but you call it a trick, and hold on a second, Adam. You're calling it a trick, and yet you are now implicitly implying that it's a trick, which means that tricks are bad, and B, that there are norms to which we should adhere, and that presents the horrible philosophical problem of describing an objective set of, truths, which I get we all here as geometric truth seekers are seeking. But, insofar as we're talking, go ahead.
Trick first. There's a lot there. Trick first. Probably the wrong word, but tricks are neither good nor bad. It's their intention behind it. I could trick somebody to thinking that they weren't having a birthday party or something, you know what I mean? Or I could trick somebody into what we were alluding to there. To be honest, wrong word. I'm talking satanic magic is what this is part of. This is about controlling people, their spirits, giving up fundamentally free will. Yeah, and once you deny, they can get you to deny reality.
Sorry.
Didn't need the sorry.
Yeah, Neil, you say.
If they get you to deny reality, then that is fundamentally one of your biggest gifts, isn't it? If you're denying your own free will, you're denying reality, they're well on their way to making sure they are able to control what you think and how you think and what's correct. No longer are you using your own free will and judgment, you're having your truth defined for you.
I just had a really strong point I wanted to say about tricks.
Can I have
a second?
Go ahead, Neil.
You know what they say, tricks are for kids.
Thank you, Neil.
No, that's an advertisement.
Thank you, Arwin.
Wait, hold on a second.
Best bit, Arwin. You missed.
Go ahead, whoever it is.
As Arwin 2.0, I'd like to acknowledge Arwin's broad-mindedness in my thinking on the subject.
In the interest of balance, Arwin's a dick.
What?
Hold on a sec. Going back to truth right quick. Are you saying that there is no objective truth?
No, I would never claim that.
Oh, okay.
I would never claim
Never mind.
that.
It sounded like it, though. It did sound pretty close to it.
Yeah, of course it sounded close to that because a lot of people were making a lot of claims that were grounded in their own, sort of subjective opinions. And as a philosopher, and I know this is not necessarily welcome anywhere, see Socrates and his fate, whatever, I have to ask these questions. Like, why is it the case that people shouldn't be deceived? You know?
I mean, you don't have to ask those questions, let's be honest.
Yeah, where's your contract?
Well, huh?
Where's the contracts that tells you that you have to ask those questions?
Are you saying that all human behavior is predicated on contractual obligations?
No, you just said you had to do that.
Yeah, maybe I had to
Nathan
do it
disagreed.
on a basis other than contractual obligations.
You were compelled.
Like what?
Yes. Well, okay, so like this whole crew here is compelled by their love of the truth to assert a claim that, based on my survey of all the possible dissident spheres of influence, literally ranks lower than promulgating Nazi ideology in terms of, reproachable ideologies. What do you guys
What
think
kind
of
of
that?
technobabble bullshit is that? What does that even mean?
I had no idea what any of that meant. I'm really sorry.
Okay, so have you guys ever been on Gab.com?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so on Gab.com, the plurality of people who are passionate about that website are neo-Nazis. And because they are neo-Nazis, they believe that the Big Bang is true, evolution is true, and that evolution produced, such and such peoples in alleged opposition to each other.
God,
Nothing you're saying makes sense.
Go ahead. You can draw your comparison. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so when I present to these people that it's possible that their suppositions are incorrect based on evidence, they have the same types of meltdowns that Globers have of any stripe when you produce the evidence for them. And the purpose of bringing all this stuff up is to say that, I've been all over the internet, and the most hated group is flat earthers. So,
okay, fair enough.
You are
crazy.
talking out of your ass. Stop making up bullshit.
Yeah, but you're too triggered to even listen to what he's saying.
But
I understood that's what he was trying to say.
Everything he said is wrong.
Hello.
So you must be on.
Hello. Just Arwin. He's obviously wanting to respond. Let him. Go ahead, Arwin.
I'm sorry, he's just talking complete made-up horse shit that trolls in their deluded little heads might think might be true, and then techno-babbling it together like some pseudo-intellectual. Dude, just shut the fuck up, man.
Chill, man. What's the problem?
Yeah, all I got from that was that, as far as I can tell, after him being all over the internet, he's found out that we're hated more than Nazis. As far as I'm not,
and he juxtaposed the Nazis with the fundamentalists we call anti-flat earthers. That's all I heard.
Exactly.
That's literally what he said. I don't know why you're so triggered. Arwen, do you not agree that flat earthers are one of the most hated groups, quote unquote, on the internet? Is that not?
Are you a neo-Nazi?
No.
No,
we're not the most hated group on the internet, but here's the difference. The people that do hate it are complete, unrestrained maniacs.
I'll just tell you something,
We
right?
are not the most hated group on the internet.
Okay, while you might not think we're the most hated people, right, the show that we talked about yesterday with Dave Weiss and Professor Dave, that was hosted by an ex-convict. In terms of preference YouTube gives to YouTubers, criminals get a higher preference than we do. That is not even factually inaccurate. That is a statement of fact.
Oh, you mean YouTube? YouTube policies? What
I mean,
they're trying
people
to make
like
out of us? Yes.
people like
yes.
people like ex-cons more than they like us, Arwin. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to back the guy's point.
No, they don't.
Well, I'm just trying to back the guy's
They
point. That's all I'm
probably
trying
don't
to do.
even know that about him.
His whole channel is based on that. The origin of his channel.
Okay.
I agree
Okay.
with Arwen to the point that he can't, unless he proves we're the most hated group on the internet. How could he just say that?
That's a fair point. That's a
I think
better
we're the
argument.
most.
Rebuttal.
I think we're instead the most avoided group on the internet.
Oh, God, you're just bandying words now. Well, 10th Man's point just invalidated that before you said it. Did you listen to what 10th Man just said? Clearly not.
What before
Just
What?
not listening.
Yeah, but the guy said he's been all over the internet.
Hello.
Yeah, when?
Okay,
What
Neil,
he
as
said
you're so
right
keen.
now?
Hello, Audio Chaos. Neil, as you're so keen. Did you hear what 10th Man just said?
What's
I
that?
strongly advise the guys that are coming off mute to blurt through the discussion, triggered or otherwise. Maybe actually listen to what's
he
being
said he had to back his
Yeah,
claim.
Neil. As I'm telling you to listen
I know
rather than
what he
talk
said.
through what's being said, you're literally talking through me telling you
You
that.
asked me a question. You asked a question. I gave you an answer. He said he has to validate what he said. And I said, he said he's been all over the internet. I haven't.
Okay, thank you for that. We're getting
Well,
further and
okay,
further
so
away from
let
the
me
bit I
just,
wanted to highlight,
can
which
I-
was... Hello? The bit that I wanted to highlight, the bit that's been lost, the bit that's been missed by everybody, 10th, hopefully we'll now repeat that verbatim, we'll see.
I said I agree with Arwen in the sense that how does he know we're the most hated group on the internet? What has he got for proof for that?
Okay, so my proof is that in my internet sojourns, I sought to find where people who actually espoused neo-Nazi beliefs, resided, so to speak. Obviously, it's kind of metaphysical because we're talking about the internet. But, like if you wanted to figure out where it is that people who espouse Nazi beliefs do that sort of thing, like where would it be? And I tried to figure out where it was, and then I put flat Earth claims to them, and they got extremely
heck?
angry.
No, he's getting there. We're all jumping the gun.
Yeah.
I did it
Yeah,
first,
no
so
shit.
my bad. Everyone else. I disrupted him. I'm apologising, and I'm calming everyone else down. He's just drawn the comparison. I just ruined it. It was my fault that time.
No,
Everyone hears neo-Nazis and immediately gets triggered. I'm sorry. You're drawing a comparison and saying that you went into these sites for a hated group and tried to put flat Earth to them. Now everyone's gone wah immediately. Just let him get to the end of his point. I'm just as triggered as you at this point, Arwin. So fair enough.
Yeah, and I met the same response. It was crazy. It was crazy because these people, when you really get down to it, are materialists like everybody else. Everybody believes that politics is just billiard balls colliding, and some people are the cue ball and some people are the 8-ball, if you know what I mean. And they don't understand that they've been handed a completely erroneous view of material causality and spirituality. And so that was the interesting thing to me. Hold on, let me just finish my thought here. The main epistemological criterion that you have to be a Nazi today on the internet is an utter disbelief of all of mainstream history. And so what I asked these people was, if you disbelieve that all of mainstream history is the case and that it was utilized to satisfy some kind of political agenda on behest of some other group, why is it that you believe that modern cosmology is the case? And it was always the genetic fallacy. I don't know if you guys remember.
That's a brilliant justification.
Can I answer it though?
Well,
you know why?
You can, but just let me just respond for 10 seconds. Yeah, now you've explained it. I hope everyone's clear and a bit less triggered and smiling like I am. That's a very interesting view that you've taken into that arena, and I'm pleased you've shared it with us. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Arwin.
Yeah, you know why they didn't like the flat Earth? These supposed neo-Nazis, which I think aren't actually neo-Nazis. They're just people that think they are because they're controversial and they just
That's not
want to
the
be a
point.
special boy.
Who cares? That's
right?
not the point.
Yeah. But you know why? Because the Nazis
Why?
practically invented it, like in the media. They injected it. It was all Nazis that started that up. So yeah, of course. Oh, flat Earth! How dare you? That's like a Jew thing. If they
Started
even
what up,
think like
Alan?
that.
I just
Started what?
it was a very, very
That
good
is what they said. That is what they said.
right?
Hold on.
Yeah, I know.
Hello? Can you hear Adam? Go ahead, Adam.
Very, very good justification. I might stand up in a call. I hope next week you're not going to wonder how paedophiles think.
Yeah, let's not make it too controversial. We're already close
Did
to
you
the
get my
edge.
point?
Ah.
In terms of hanging around very disparate groups and justifying it with flat Earth, I've got no desire to go and, unless you are like the flat Earth Simon Wiesenthal or something.
Sorry,
You
do you
want
not see the...
controversial? Watch my show today.
Very
Hello?
outrageous.
Do you not see the segue? We were just comparing ex-cons and how there's been a debate that's been held by ex-cons that talk about their criminal activity in prison time and how, that person can gain hundreds of thousands of subscribers talking about that. I mean, I'm just highlighting how we've got to this point. I know it's very close to the edge.
That is my point, isn't it? Yesterday I was talking about going into different areas, and that my extreme example may be a
Sorry,
bit,
Adam.
he
Sorry,
was
I
trying
have to
to
cut you off.
exemplate there's some odd areas to go into.
He's still talking.
Please, Adam.
Leave Adam talk.
God,
Adam.
can you not hear? Doing that causes audio chaos and no one can hear anything.
I'd finished anyway, like I say. It just,
All right, go ahead.
I mean, my point is very similar to Nathan's in the sense that I'm not trying to describe like what the future of flat Earth debate is or like where people should go, to evangelize or whatever. My point is that when you talk about taboo subjects, what I've learned is that subjects that pertain to like very obvious and demonstrable logical proofs about the nature of reality are met with more scorn than ideological systems that pertain to like killing and all that kind of stuff.
I got
and
you.
I just found that very interesting.
I do too, and it reminds me of something that Jaron said when he described his approach to this subject. And it was off the back of his wife and he coming to the conclusion that a lot of what they believed based on the history books wasn't true. It didn't stack up, and they were selling very ancient books as a business at the time. So they had a good familiarity with that particular subject matter, and they're like, we've got to chuck it all out. It seems like there's a lot of nonsense that we've got to start afresh. And his wife turns around to him and says, oh yeah, what about Earth as a sphere? And Jaron's reaction off the cuff was, well, that's a bit much. We don't go that far. That was his reaction.
That's just chocolate said earlier, wasn't it? Agent Smith. As the agent just comes out. You don't even know why. You're cognizant why you have that reaction.
Yeah,
The problem,
It's so tight. It flips everything upside down, like the common blanket that we all grow up with through media. It completely unravels that in an instant if you accept that might be true because you're not in the know. That's why.
I like the comment that he misspoke when he first came and set up for all the triggering, because he said we're the most hated group on the internet, and now after he's through speaking, he contacted a hated group and asked a question of a hated group, and because of that hated group's opinion, we're the most hated group on the internet. That's ridiculous. Go write a philosophy paper, but you have no proof that we're the most hated group on the internet.
Yeah, but I could still make a good argument for that on his behalf. No, I'm not going to make it. Obviously, I'm just reiterating his point, but you know what I'm getting at.
Tony will now try and go and get that award.
Well, you can make all the arguments you want, but he started with the premise that made me believe, and most of us did, I think, unless I'm speaking for you out of turn, that there was some kind of rating system and that we fell below the Nazis.
No,
yeah, I'd buy that.
100% correct.
I'd buy
no actual. Sorry, Nathan.
I'm just agreeing with him. He's tends to say no, based on his premise, which is flawed. the conclusion that we're more hated than the Nazis doesn't ring true. Now, based on the fallacy, I'll agree with 10th, but I still don't disagree with the overall conclusion.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah, I
totally
think
agree
we
with
are.
Kent. Is that? Sorry, Neil.
That weren't me.
I really disagree. First off,
Yeah.
that the supposed Nazis are even Nazis. They're not. They think they are.
Oh, God, didn't I say earlier?
They're
That's
not
not the
hated
point.
either.
Arwin,
They're feared.
Arwin. I'm just not going to let you allow a fringe subject take me close to the edge on this channel. I'm happy to link it to Flat Earth and make the juxtaposition like the guy did for us, with a bit of coaxing and control having to be put in place by me to get there. Now I'm happy that we haven't stepped over the line. I'm not going to allow that risk for a fringe opinion that you've got about Nazis. No, sorry. Just not going to allow it. Really sorry.
Right, now I smell a rat.
No, that's
Now
not what I said.
Owen, just
Wait,
firm
can
in the
I
bush
can
for
I
just
can
one
I
second.
respond?
Can you hear Adam
Just give me
talking?
a second, please. I nearly typed in chat, Owen. I can tell what's going to trigger you. I know you very well. And this guy came in with a premise of it, and the subject's been very skirty around, and I've listened. And I nearly said, this is just set to trigger you for this topic to come up. Nathan spotted what's going off, realised what's going off, and let's just move on.
Indeed.
Yeah, listen. Tent Man was correct, exactly, totally correct on what he said, that Whiskey's original statement was incorrect, that he hasn't verified that we're the most hated group on the internet. Now, there does seem to be a lot of data there to actually support that. But really, I don't mean this as a disrespect to Whiskey and what he was doing. I don't care about neo-Nazis. What they mean nothing to me, they're just another group of idiots, right? So I don't care. And I don't care for the most hated group on the internet. We're also the most correct group on the internet, and that's all that matters.
Well said.
Yeah, I totally
agree
agree with
with
that.
that.
Totally agree.
About it, everybody shuts me up. That's great.
I
guys.
just hear that he went to a bunch of people that also have their own reasonings for not trusting the mainstream narrative. And he asked them about another mainstream narrative that's part of their narrative, and was wondering why they fully accept this narrative that he asked them about instead of the one that they already can't stand.
There you go.
I
Good
don't see
summary,
anything
Chocolate.
wrong with that.
Yes.
Thank you,
Good
Chocolate. That's
summary.
exactly the point.
And it's an
Yeah, I
interesting
get it.
talking
Listen.
point, so long as it doesn't descend into chaos or trigger Arwin.
So all he had to say was what Chocolate said. One of the most polarizing groups on the internet, the Nazis. I took him the subject of flat Earth, and man, did they hate that subject. But he didn't have to start by saying we're the most hated group. That was ridiculous.
Well, maybe that's what he thinks. If that's what he thinks, that's all right. But I
Well, yeah.
understand what he means because
what he thinks
the
is
first
okay.
person.
Hang on. What he thinks is okay. He's a philosophy major, it sounds like. He can philosophize all he wants, but when he makes a statement, he has to back it up.
I mean, I back up my claim about the flat Earth group being the most hated just based on, the interactions I have with people in YouTube comment sections, basically.
Well, the people I
Maybe
talk
also
to,
based a little bit on consensus, right? How many people think we live on a globe, and how many people?
If I talk to,
I'm sorry.
no, it's all right. I was interrupting you actually. If I talk to people and I bring up flat Earth, they don't want to talk about it. But you know what they hate more? Is the Nazis.
I'm convinced.
This is super annoying.
The first.
I say something about it, everybody shuts me up. Now you're all just smoothly
The third
talking
time
about
you've
it
said
for
that.
5 minutes straight. What
The
the
third time
hell,
you said that.
guys?
Wait,
What is wrong with you?
may
What's wrong
I
with
talk to
me?
Arwin personally?
What the hell?
Depends. If it's about Nazis, then no, because I know where it'll go.
It's not about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Arwin, I'm curious because I've seen your channel before. I want to know what you think about like how people form sincere beliefs and how they justify their beliefs in light of vast opposition of other people.
What? Why?
Can I just throw in here? We're not a philosophy.
Hello, who's
it's
asking
not
Darwin?
philosophy show.
Hello, yes, Darwin.
Sorry.
I don't know, dude. That's such an overgeneralized question. Like, yeah, without any form of context, I don't know.
Let me give you a context,
Okay,
Darwin.
that's a good
why
answer.
do people hate gingers so much?
Fucking gingers.
Well, that's because of, every group, let's just start off. Every group has elements, traits that people dislike, and then sometimes some things are okayed. They're societally okayed, or they're media okayed. Like, it's okay.
What, red hair's okay?
Not gingers, though.
No. Am I just a joke to you guys?
No, but gingers are.
I mean, I'm trying to actually give a serious response, and you're just all joking over me. I don't like this. I really don't.
We're all
Wait,
paying
Arwen,
attention.
First you're complaining, then
Arwen.
you do what you complain about me, and now I'm trying to give a serious response, and you're just joking all over me.
No,
This
let
is
me
not
give you
funny.
a smack on the arse and tell you what I just did. The topic was too smelly, wasn't it? So we had to have an out so that you could express your personal views in a way which was not related to Nazism in any way, but that you could eulogize. So we turned it into gingerism, making it quite clear just at that point that it was definitely gingerism that you were going to ramble about. Do you understand what went off? Nobody's
Nope.
on you. People were setting you up so you could talk.
That was
a
pretty
good
clever,
sigh.
Adam.
Everyone else, shut up.
I dig
That was
it.
No one detected that. I know, Arwen. That was a good sigh. Go ahead, Arwen.
I have nothing more to say.
Fair enough.
Well, anyway, my main questions were all epistemological in the sense that we all seek authority in life, and some people believe. Wait, who said do we?
Brian.
I did.
Okay. Do you think that the words that you're speaking right now contain meaning?
Yeah.
Okay. On what authority?
Because people, it's not authority, it's that people understand what I mean if they speak the same language.
Yeah, you just confirmed it. He said yes, and you understood him, confirming that point.
Yep.
It's convention based. We all grow up with it.
I have to stop here now, Whiskey, a moment. You do understand that this is flat out debates, not philosophy hour.
Yeah, it's the after show, innit?
Now, I know there's a certain amount of philosophy goes into it, but now it's Nathan's show, but I'm just saying, we could be philosophizing forever.
Yeah, but that's kind of what we're
something?
doing. That's kind of what we're doing because we're wondering about, who decided what the meanings of the movements of celestial objects are. And we've discovered through discourse that it's largely a philosophical matter, because if you presuppose philosophically, like Pythagoras did, that the perfect shape is a sphere, then you will presuppose that all phenomenon are emergent qualities of living in a spherical universe.
Yeah, you can do tangible measurements, though. That's what we're arguing about all day, every day, when we talk about actually taking a tangible measurement and then navigating based on it. You're finding where you are based on a measurement. That's tangible. It's not philosophical in any way.
And we can actually
agree.
see something, at least.
I mean, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if you guys have really grappled with the fact that your contravening interlocutors literally believe that straight lines are always bent.
What's an interlocutor?
An interlocutor?
Say it again. One more time.
Interlocutor.
What's an interlocutor?
Interlocutor. Someone with whom you are speaking on a contentious subject.
Okay. New word. Very nice.
We call
Yeah,
that
it's
a
a
jerk.
great word.
That aside, my intrigue in new English words, can you restate the question, please?
It's not a question, it's a statement. The people with whom you are interlocuting literally believe that straight lines are curved.
Yeah, we're dealing with
And so
nutters.
when
Yes, we are dealing with nutters. That's correct.
They're deranged. Too much doublespeak makes everything possible.
Can you dumb it down a little bit with that freaking language?
Neil's losing the will to live
Neil,
here.
I agree.
Neil,
Cut
let me
down
tell
on
you,
the techno
Neil,
babble,
hold on.
please.
I'm fucking
Neil.
talking to Neil right now. Listen, I'm from the fucking Lower East Side. Neil, if you had a fucking 2x4 that had a fucking 2-inch bend from the top of the 2x4 to the edge, would you call that a straight fucking board?
No, I call that a board that I wrapped across somebody's head.
Neil.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Well,
let
anyway,
me
these
put it
people
another
think
way
that
for you,
that's
Neil.
straight.
Hold on, Adam. Go ahead, Risky Shaman.
Yo, these people literally think that's straight. I talked to fucking Akuma virus and Xanic for like 4 hours last week, and they kept trying to tell me that a line can be curved.
A line can
what
be
I
curved.
can-
Straight line,
A straight,
a straight
line
line.
can't be.
Straight line. He meant a straight line.
No, a line. What is a line? What is a line?
A line can be a curved line, can be a straight line.
What is a line?
It can be described in both ways.
What is a line?
A line is a two-dimensional connection between 2 points. Doesn't have to be straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so wouldn't a curve have to be between at least 3 points?
No, you're missing the point they're
No, you
putting
can
down.
have
They're
a
just saying
wavy
that
line.
you're
Parabolic
right in
line.
every respect, other than you're not saying straight line.
Right.
No,
the
that's
straight line is
totally
relevant to a triangle.
superfluous.
I don't know, Owen. Go ahead, Whiskey Shaman.
Not.
All lines are necessarily straight.
No, they're not.
Only in triangles.
That's
No,
superfluous.
not only in triangles, in all geometry.
Are you saying that curved lines don't exist?
He's basically
A
saying curved
circle
line
is
don't
straight.
exist. Yes, Chocolate. That's right. No, you're
If
wrong.
all
You're wrong. I'm
lines-
afraid.
I mean, Whiskey, I'm with you until the description of the line is what's important, right? They're telling you straight lines can be curved. Well, that's batshit crazy insane because a straight line is straight. That's why there's that word straight, and then there's curved, which is a different word, which is a different word for a reason, right? They just want to just forget that word exists, right? Straight.
Now we've
Because
dumbed it down enough for
that's a
Neil.
problem for them now.
A circle is also a line.
It's those pesky words having bloody meanings again, isn't it?
It's just
You know,
straight. He just
damn
said
it.
line instead of straight line. Other than that, everything was perfect. I don't know why I've had to
Hey,
segue.
Adam, what's a line?
It's a joining of two ends of the line, 2 points. Now, how those 2 points, if they're joined as the shortest distance, then that will necessitate it being a straight line. And like I said, you could have
Yeah,
all
so
sorts of, could have
hold
an
on a
arc,
second. If
couldn't
it
you?
wasn't the shortest,
Maybe.
point, wouldn't a third point be
No,
necessary?
that's a straight line. Dude,
A
that's
straight line.
shortest distance
Yes.
between 2 points is a straight line.
No, it's just a line, bro. It's literally
No,
what
really,
a line
short
is.
distance
Okay,
isn't.
hold on. If I draw 2 dots an inch apart and then draw a circle from one all the way around a massive distance back to the other, you're telling me that's the shortest distance because it's a line? No, fundamentally incorrect. The shortest distance is a straight... Well, this is now the 5th time we've covered this. This segue's lasted for 6 minutes so far. A straight line's the shortest distance between 2 points, not just a line.
Yes. No, a line is the shortest distance between 2 points. Anything else requires more points.
Is this like my dad? My dad was a programmer, and I used to watch him do programming, right? Really complex programming, and I was in awe. But then he'd struggle to set his alarm clock. Is this a bit like that? Because you've talked in such mature philosophical terms up until now, and now you're fundamentally not grasping basic geometry.
Hold on a second, Nathan. Hold on a second. Are you telling me that there is a line that is possible that only involves 2 points that is longer than the shortest line that involves 2 points?
I didn't
No,
understand that.
we're saying if you're going to use the term lines and have different types of lines, yeah, then when using the sentence to make it like comprehensible, you should differentiate each time so that your sentence doesn't require further clarification.
How many lines did you do before this?
Not those kind of lines. Look, this show does not endorse that.
Wow.
What I'm saying is, if you have 2 points and you join them with an abstract concept such as a line, if you wanted to make it so that this so-called line was not the shortest distance, would you or would you not require more points?
Yes, you would require more points. So if you're talking about a curved line, then yeah, in technical terms, you've got multiple points. What's your point?
My point is that it's no longer a line.
Yeah, it is. A long, narrow mark or band. That's what a line is defined as.
As
You
what?
seem to misunderstand the concept of a line. Got your own.
To be like a Cheech and Chong video, Owen, isn't it? It's like not a line.
Yeah, a little bit, brother.
I love these shows.
But, yeah,
I mean,
there
listen,
is such a
guys,
thing as a straight line and a curved line, right? I mean,
No, there.
these two
In my
things are
view, there's no
different. This
curved
is-
line. But hold on a second, guys. I'm going to leave you with this. If there's a such thing as a curved line,
There is.
then you should have no problem with curved level.
No, just because there is such a thing as a curved line doesn't mean I've got no issue with curved level, because that's a contradiction in terms oxymoron. So I've definitely got an issue with curved level. But just because I accept that there are such things as curved lines definitely doesn't mean I'll accept that now. I don't know why you've done that, but very amusing.
The core
You'll
is
see
not
it
claimed to be the
eventually.
level.
Oxygen is electricity.
I'm dipping.
Bad as that.
So the guy,
Curve is not claimed to 1 second. The curve is not claimed to be the level. The level comes from the center of the sphere or circle. It's level from the center, which is completely wrong with our model anyway. But that is what they're claiming. So it's not the line. That's the level.
That's superfluous from a benign interlocutor.
Is that correct? Fundamentally speaking, as a juxtaposition, I believe you're correct, Quantum Eraser.
That shut me up anyway. I'm just going to shut up now.
well, I
What's
just
wrong
want to say, the philosopher has met the end of the line at this point.
Everyone missed Quantum Eraser's descension into absurdium?
Yes, no, I didn't miss it. It's great.
No, it was good. I went for my binoculars.
I can't think of any more long words. Sorry. That's the end of that.
It's because you have a short vernacular.
I'm still stuck on one of the statements Chocolate said.
I'm seeing a doctor about that, Adam.
I've got pills for it.
What did I say?
Short vernacular.
I'm still stuck on something. Well, they're talking about their doctors and stuff. Are you done?
Yeah.
I think this guy's been hanging around with anti-flat earthers too long. He doesn't understand what a straight line is.
He
Oh,
exited
wait a
it.
second. We're
Before
going
he,
on to another subject. Hold on a second.
sorry, one
One
sec.
sec.
Before he made his closing statement, he basically denied that there was such a thing as a curve. I don't know if anybody else caught that.
I don't know if anyone else caught what Chocolate said earlier.
I did. I caught both of them.
It's profound. He said, and I quote, "What's wrong with you?"
I honestly think my comparison with my dad and his alarm clock, which is absolutely true, is a great comparison because, you know, he did so well up until that point, didn't he? Let's be honest. We were all like, wow, this guy's super smart. I'm not saying he isn't, but I'm just saying, you know.
I wasn't.
I didn't.
Just
I can't
techno-babbling.
think the words.
It's all right,
He's
Alwyn.
not
We know
smart.
you
He's
couldn't
just
keep up.
techno-babbling. He was wrong constantly.
Yeah, maybe. It was a lot of fun, though, wasn't it?
I enjoyed it.
That's true.
Oh, and don't feel threatened. You're still smarter.
That's what I was going to go to next, Neil. Great minds. Yeah, I was going
don't
to say he
feel
introduced himself as having being the next Baldwin, and then talked about subjects that he knew would trigger Arwin. So, in entertainment standards, good job, my friend. Educational
I've got
also.
a word of the day. We've got a word of the day, interlocution, which, Neil, this was for you. Locutus of Borg.
Beautiful word. I agree.
Not better than my trepidacious.
You've used that twice,
man
though.
was no ball win.
You didn't say that very confidently, Neil.
Actually, you should be saying Euclidean at this point.
Okay, well, that's got rid of all the Mongols in the audience. Jolly good work.
This is so bad over here. Every time I come off mute, I'm roboting. So I'm going to stay on mute.
I think the most hated group on the internet are people who don't know what a curved line is versus a straight line after today's show.
Got any evidence of that?
Yes, today's show.
That's not good enough evidence.
It's your show. It's the best.
Yeah, but by evidentiary standards, just saying because of my show, that doesn't really qualify us as being, what was it I'm disagreeing against with now?
Well,
I forgot.
How many people are listening to your show today? 200, right?
200 live viewers. By the time the show had finished, it had 600 people come and go through the show.
Okay, so in the numbers of 200 live, 600 total, the majority of those people take a poll, post it on your video. How many of you think a curved line is straight, and see what happens?
I think Bev Try Thinking has actually made that poll. And I mean, I really am guessing, but from memory, I did vaguely pay attention to that poll, and it was something like 90% versus 6%. And then there was a third option that I can't remember that would have been a joke. That was the remainder, sort of 2 or 3%.
Dubious about them taking a poll.
Yeah, especially when...
Just in terms of mathematical qualifications. Q, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Qualifications, if you're going to be taking maths polls. Can you only do trigonometry on right-angled triangles?
Oh, brother.
You should be able to answer that, shouldn't you? If you're going to start straw polling other people.
Okay. What's wrong with you?
Hold on, I don't follow what's going on, Adam.
Oh no, we don't need to follow it.
That's copyrighted, John.
I've just gone and done a Neil.
Everyone just
done a Neil. I'm sorry.
Please contextualise this. I don't know what's going on, which means the audience won't.
No. I would just, in terms of mathematics, I obviously listen to lots of people talk, and as much as I talk. And there was just a strange quote I heard with regards to Bev saying you can't do trigonometry without a right-angled triangle, which I found a strange statement, because we like to support our fellow flat earthers. So why Kiwi's being quiet is just an odd one.
Okay, well, Bev comes out with some corkers. I mean, he told me personally that celestial navigation is not used to find your position.
Okay.
yeah,
But anyway, that was... Sorry. Wrong.
Just saying, Bev makes decisions on things without having done the correct research sometimes.
Let's not slag Bev off. Subscribe to Bev Try Thinking today.
That's just a statement of fact. That's all. Not a slag, not an attack, just fact.
Okay, no need. Subscribe today. Bev Try Thinking.
I'm not attacking him. I'm just statement of fact. It's true. I've experienced it myself with him.
Well, now you've said it 3 times. It's almost like you've managed to reiterate it beautifully, Arwin.
Well, only because you have to make it.
Yes, you're welcome.
No, only because Nathan, you made it out as if I was attacking, whereas I was just being honest.
So you reiterated it 4 times to make sure that everyone knew that you weren't attacking him when you laboured that point. Excellent work.
Why is he attacking?
Well, only because what do you say? That's what I'm supposed to do.
Are you going to drag this out indefinitely?
Why did you say he was attacking him?
Oh God, I'm never going to get away with this, am I? I'm just making it worse.
No.
Look, I said it. It was my faux pas. I wasn't attacking per se. It was just a little dig in the ribs. Yeah, a little dig in the ribs. I find it quite funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that
put
what
some
I
link-
highlighted? Is that what I asked you to give context to?
you see,
This
it's
is
me.
my fault. This is my fault, audience. My
I was
bad.
being a little bit bitchy. I'm sorry.
We don't have the theatre rules here. No in-jokes.
So Bev actually said you don't use celestial navigation to find your observer's position by the time you go through all the tables and everything?
No, that was the statement he gave me. He just didn't understand celestial navigation, bless him. So
why is he,
I lost my
why is he-
temper with him, if you want to know the full story. So we're debating it, and he kept on saying, what's the phrase he kept saying? You can't do anything with an angle. I'll actually use the words he used. You can do fuck all with an angle, was Bev's argument. So I was like, well,
Really?
you can acquire a fix with it. And his statement to me was, you don't use celestial navigation to find your position. I'm like, well, what's a fix? And he didn't know. So there you go.
So
just
he
didn't know what
so he
celestial
has
navigation was.
So he's got a pet. It sounds like he's got a pet belief, and then when asked how it works with celestial navigation, he didn't do the homework that we've done here to see once you take an elevation angle and you correct for true altitude, you minus from 90, so you have a right angle triangle that you used, and then you can get your distance by the co-altitude, the remaining factor of that right angle. So if your elevation is 50 degrees, then 50 minus 90 leaves you 40. 40 times 60 nautical miles. That's your distance to the GP, where that star is over the ocean at that hour, at that moment, at that second, based on stars and what they move at 15 degrees per hour. He doesn't know that?
No, he didn't know anything about celestial navigation. As I say, he made it quite clear to him and his panel at the time that celestial navigation is not used to find where you are.
Oh my gosh. If he said that and he's commenting on our channel, this is terrible.
No, my reaction to him, because he got further into the conversation, and I was like, well, what do you do if you're lost at sea? And he was like, well, you shouldn't be lost at sea. I was like, well, okay, but what if you are? And you're like, well, then you've got a crap navigator. I'm like, let me get this straight. You're lost at sea, and what Bev Try Thinking will be doing is telling the navigator he's done a crap job as everybody dies.
Oh my gosh, this is worse than I thought, because, no one wandered off for the longest time from the shoreline because they would get lost at sea, and they didn't have star charts. They didn't have the cross staff or any kind of pre-sextant device like an astrolabe or an octant or a quadrant. They didn't have these things, and they say, you know what? We can't go out there. We're going to get lost. So they stayed close to shore and navigated shorelines
I'm muting Dicelo. I've just muted Dicelo.
Okay,
Right.
until...
If they lost sight of lighthouse towers, they would be screwed.
Correct, Darwin. So until they got... Well, who is this person interrupting?
Neil. Bet it's Neil. Pound says it's Neil. It was Neil! I win a pound. I'm only joking.
Well, Compass came into...
Pound says it's Neil again. I bet it's a pound. Pound says it's Neil.
It's not just Neil, it's Robot Neil.
Oh, this is not worth it then.
Am I coming in now?
Yes, very important that you establish
Oh, that's
that.
much better.
Much better. Super
I
clean
just
too.
want to say, come on, I've been begging Bev to put out that video so I can hear it, but he will not do it.
Well, I could just put it out. I've got a copy, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, but what about 10th man and what he was saying? The very important facts that he was laying down concerning celestial navigation. What about those things? Can we not talk about that after those things?
What, when we're talking about Bev? I mean, what do you think this is? We're talking about people here. There's nothing more important than talking about people. This is not lowbrow.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. Second apology. I'm not doing it again.
Can you leave your concepts and ideas for another time, thank you, when we're talking about people? Bloody hell. Go ahead, 10th. Hopefully Neil's done.
I'll try. There's a diesel engine behind me now, but The compass, I think, came around early 1400s. The predecessors of the sextant came, 1600s or so, and then the sextant came in the 1700s, I believe. And then, of course, they had an issue with time because they could only really do latitude until they got, what's his name, Harrison, who came up with the challenge and came up with the watch that can work at sea, because you can't take a pendulum at sea. And they used to have hourglasses too, but it was kind of clumsy. So if you study the whole history of celestial navigation like I did, you find out that they can go out to sea because they would get lost. So I don't know what Bev is talking about, that it's not about that, because that was the fear. So they finally realized with the astronomers that the star patterns were continuous and it was the same each year after another, and they might be able to use that. And until those tables got published, you didn't know what to do with your angle other than latitude, right? Because of Polaris. And so they would sail down, find the proper latitude, and then go west. That's how they would do it. And they would have to use dead reckoning to make corrections. And so they kept a complete log. It was about every half hour to an hour, they would check everything because they needed not to stray off course too much. So to say that you don't need celestial navigation to find out where you are is the exact reason why celestial navigation is what it is, so you can find out where you are, because you know where the sun is, or the moon is, or a star is, and you can triangulate with 2 or more circle of equal altitudes to get a fix, and then you know exactly where you are in relationship to where that is on the Earth. And then you use Greenwich time to know your longitude. So it's always set to noon at Greenwich, and then you wait till the sun is the highest in your sky, and then you have to backtrack if you're going one direction, west, and east, the other way until the international dateline. I mean, just go read a book.
I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. It's been a lot of fun. Obviously, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting the PayPal link and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!